Pro Team. 2 updates in 3 weeks. We're going to talk about it in a few minutes. I got to do a little bit of housekeeping, and then I'll be right back with you. But we're going to talk about Final Cut Pro 10.5.4 bug fix update. I'll be back in a few minutes. And there you have it. Hey everyone, how's everyone doing? Look what we got today. Final Cut Pro 10.5.4 bug fix update. Now, what the heck's going on with the Final Cut Pro team? If I recall correctly, that's the shortest period of time between Final Cut Pro updates in the history of Final Cut Pro. I don't believe they've ever had one like this before. So it's been, let me just check here. 3 weeks since we got the other 10.5.3 came out. What date was it? It came out in June. 3 weeks from today, 3 weeks ago. So what's that mean? What's going on with Final Cut Pro team that they're putting out so many updates so quickly? Does that mean, let me just type this in here. They're getting ready for something else? Is that what's happening? They're getting ready for Final Cut Pro 10.6? I think that's very, very likely. That's exactly what's happening. Let me just type this one password in here. I have to log into this one site to make sure I can get comments. Team 2020, there we go. Password copy. And let me put the password in there. I'm not sure why I have to log in again. Oh, for Pete's sake, those stupid CAPTCHAs. There we go. So we're all logged in. We're every place I need to be. I'm not sure if that's, let me just check. Let me just check and make sure we're at the right, yeah, there we are. 2 updates in 3 weeks. Audio's sounding good. Everything's sounding good. I'm back in the studio. I did a test with a new microphone that I've got that I'm trying out for when I go mobile for maybe NAB, but hopefully the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit will be in person this year. That's what I'm hoping. I'm not sure if everybody, who else will be going to that in person, I don't know. Here's my desktop. As you know, look, monitoring. Oh, that's interesting. They got captioning going on there. So what do you think about? What do you think about these updates that they're coming so fast? What do you think about that? Doesn't affect you? You're not worried about it? Or does it mean something? Does it mean maybe they're cleaning up 10.5 in preparation for something else later this fall, later this year? I mean, who the heck knows? Last year we got 10.4.9. In August, this time we've gotten 2 updates in 3 weeks. Yes, it's a minor update. That's fine. We know that. Let me see what we can do here. So let me pull this up real quick. There's that. I am going to, here we go. So here is the, oh, that's interesting. Look at that. Here's the update. Version 10.5.4. And these are the only 2 things that have been going on. Improved stability when exporting with certain Mac OS language and region preferences. Improved stability when playing H.264 or HEVC media. Now, I have certainly experienced performance issues with playing back H.264 and H.265 media. It's just weird the way what happens in Final Cut. Hopefully that fixes the issue that I've been having. The issue that I've been having specifically with my iPhone 12 Pro Max, actually with my iPhone 11 as well. I import media. It doesn't make any difference. H.264, which is what I shoot mostly in, but sometimes H.265. And what happens is it'll import fine, close the project, importing is completed. I'll go back to the project. Either the clips will be saying they're offline or they'll be black. They'll be black in the browser and when I play them back. And it happens quite often, so specifically with this iPhone footage. So hopefully that is going to improve stability when playing back H.264 or HEVC, which is H.265 media. So here's one of the things that I'd like to say. So here's the rating on Final Cut Pro in the App Store. 4.2 out of 5, which isn't bad. It's like a B+, I guess. I expect this to change with 10.6. I expect this is going to be up to 4.5, 4.6, 4.7 once Final Cut Pro 10.6 arrives later this year. So what do you think? I appreciate the Final Cut Pro team being so responsive to a pretty disruptive bug for non-US users. There you go. So I didn't experience that bug, the export language bug, but I've seen other people report that exactly, that depending on, you had to change your export settings for your language and then would export. Eric Emmerich says, can't update now at the end of a project. So before you update, anytime I update Final Cut Pro, I always duplicate the app in my applications folder. Just right click on it, duplicate, or just select it. Select it and Apple D, it duplicates it. You can zip it if you want, but I don't zip it typically. I just duplicate it. So I hit Apple D and it makes a copy. Once the copy is made, then I update. Weird. Why did it resize like that? The overlay resized. I just drug my mouse across it and it resized. So anyway, I just shot a short with iPhone, Dolby Vision HEVC, no issues editing it, used Filmic Pro. I really like Filmic Pro. As a matter of fact, I'm using Filmic Pro right there on my iPhone 6S Plus. This is what I use because it has a clean HDMI out now, clean output. I use that for my overhead camera. I also use it for shooting. If I was doing a stationary iPhone footage on a tripod, I would use it. But I do a lot of live streaming with my iPhones, both of them. And I use my iPhone 12 Pro Max. I'm constantly switching my lenses while I'm streaming live. I hit a button, or when I film, I can't do it when I'm streaming live. When I'm streaming live with the native camera app, I can go to any of the 3 front-facing lenses without stopping the recording. I need that when I film live. I absolutely need that. When I film, I got to have the ability to switch camera lenses. Well, you can't do that in Filmic Pro. You have to stop the recording, switch lens, start the recording. Stop the recording, switch lens, start the recording. I don't do that with the native camera app, so I continuously go with the native camera app. Now, like I said, if I was doing a film and I could set up each scene with lighting and audio and exposure, doing what I wanted to do, yeah, I would use Filmic Pro in a heartbeat. It's a great app for that. I also use their other one, Double Take, when I'm doing some filming. I shoot 1080p, the front-facing camera, and then 1080p back on me. If I'm interviewing somebody, I use that as well. So I really like Filmic Pro. Got a comment, doesn't Filmic Pro force standard frame rates? iPhone native camera uses variable frame rates, which I think makes Final Cut Pro unhappy. It very well could. I haven't really run into that problem. I guess I do need to switch lenses when I'm filming, though. I don't want it to stop the recording to switch a lens. I want to switch a lens while I'm recording. I use mostly the main lens and then the telephoto lens. Once in a while, I'll go back to the wide shot, but I really like that ability. It's like taking your camera lens and, zooming in and zooming back out. It's very similar to that. It switches very, very fast. So your comment, you very well could be that Filmic Pro forces standard frame rates. It very well could be, which is a big deal. But for the videos I'm talking about, I'm just pretty much going to YouTube. I'm not overly concerned about it. Still on 10.4.8 because of a project I've been working on. Is it possible to update to a version between 10.4.8 and 10.5.4? I don't think it is now. You mean 10.4.9? I don't think 10.4.9 is available. I think only the latest version of Final Cut. Now, I always, like I said, I make a duplicate. I have versions of Final Cut Pro going all the way back to 10.0.0. On my old MacBook Pro, I have that. And I always make duplicate copies of the app before I update, so I have plenty of back copies that I could go to. And plus, I have a MacBook Pro, which I don't keep updated, and I have the Mac Pro, which I'm on right now, which I do keep pretty well updated. I just updated to 10.5.4, but I'm not in the middle of any big project. Not a giant project anyway. Just a couple of, I'm working on some documentaries, but they've been going on for years. So yes, I have updated in the middle of the documentaries. Absolutely. So I went to the Apple Store today and I was kind of surprised at how sparse everything was. Everything was very, very spread out, and there wasn't a Mac Pro to be seen anywhere. This is the store in Columbia, Maryland. Look at this. Very, very sparse. Not a single Mac Pro to be seen anywhere. So I wasn't there for the Mac Pro. What I did was I actually got a battery for my iPhone 6s Plus, because in recent times that I've been streaming live, I'm using the 6s Plus as my streaming camera, because I'm just shooting in 1080p. It actually goes to 4K, but when I stream live, like on the Facebook Live, I just do 1080p. And the other thing is the battery was only lasting an hour, 20 minutes, if I was lucky. So I would always get the error warning, 10%, 20% battery life less, 10% battery life less. And I went to the Apple Store and I got a new battery for my 6s Plus. So that should give me 5, 6, 7 hours of battery life now, which is what I absolutely need. I like that camera. It was my first 4K camera besides the GH4, and I really like it. I shot a lot of good stuff with that. I shoot everything in 4K when I'm shooting. When I'm streaming live, I just do 1080p. That's plenty. As a matter of fact, stream aspect. Yeah, it's 1080p. I'm streaming in 1080p. So, for those of you not familiar with my setup. This is my streaming setup. This is Ecamm Live. This is everything that I'm looking at right now with Ecamm Live. The only thing you can't see my microphone, which is right here, just out of view. It's TLM 103, Neumann TLM 103, that I have going into a Universal Audio Apollo Twin X interface. But this is everything that I'm monitoring as I'm going. I love my 34-inch LG monitor. Of course, I'm running it off the Mac Pro, which I have 112 gigabytes of RAM on that thing. I never run out of RAM, and that thing's been a fantastic, fantastic Mac. My favorite Mac by far. So far. Now I'm looking forward to getting the Mac, the M1X 16-inch MacBook Pro when it comes out, or the M2, whatever the heck it is. I don't know which it's going to be. Never underestimate Apple when it comes to putting out these updates. So I wasn't really expecting a bug fix, although people have been talking specifically about this export bug fix, that they have to change language in order to export. I don't know how they found that out. Somebody, who was the guy that found it out? This guy, I'll give him credit here. Get what his name is. Let me see, I'll find it here. Because I saw his post a couple weeks ago about not being able to update. I'm not being able to export Final Cut Pro. James Crude. He's the guy that I saw was updated. Let me just pull this up. Safari. This gentleman right here, James Crude, is the one that says, looks like that crash on export is fixed in today's Final Cut Pro 10.5.4 update. So I'm going to take his word for it that that's fixed. I hope they do have indeed some fixes for H.264 and H.265 though. That's what I'm hoping. So if you're coming here today, let me see. This is what we got. FCP 10.5 bug fix update came today, 3 weeks after 10.5.3 came out. 10.5.3. It seems like they're cleaning up things, getting ready for something big. Don't you think? Does everybody think that, or it's just me? I think everybody thinks that, right? Not just me. Eric Emmerich says, I live 55 miles from nearest Apple store. Hate that. Used to live 10 minutes from one. Yeah, I went to send my iPhone 6 Pro, it's iPhone 6s Plus. I went to send it back for the battery, for a new battery. Same price. It was $49 for the battery and the install. I fixed it, charged $29 to send you the battery and you install it yourself, which is like, yeah, I can do that. But for $20 more, I'll let Apple do it. And then it's warranted for 90 days. So I took it in, had it done, no problems. But I tried to do it online and it seemed like they stopped. I tried to do it multiple times and it had all these iPhones listed, and it got to mine when I pressed the button to send it in, because Apple will send you the box, it wouldn't go through. So I said, heck with it, I'll make an appointment. I made an appointment at the Columbia, Maryland store and Had it done. It was done in an hour. And now it's warranted for 90 days. So the one thing I read, though, is to, with the new battery, completely charge it to 100% and then completely drain it to 0. And then completely charge it to 100% again, and I'll let it drain back to 0 again. That does something with calibration of the, something to do with calibration of the battery to make it last longer or something. I'm not sure what it does. Something like that. So that's what I'm going to do. It's charging up right now, right above me, right up there, the overhead cam. This camera is my iPhone 6S Plus, and I'm charging it to 100%, and then I'll let it drain all the way back down. So Ender Films, just updated after reading about the new version on your show, and both the native version and the Rosetta 2 version still work great on my Mac M1 Mini. You know, if I had known how long it was going to be before we got the new MacBook Pro, I might have bought a Mac Mini last year, an M1 Mac Mini, so I'd have it for the last 6 months just to mess around with it, because everybody's talking about how cool that the M1 chips are. And I absolutely believe them. Great to see the attention Apple gives to the Final Cut Pro ecosystem and fixes bugs within 3 weeks. I think that's a record. Can anybody prove me wrong? I think that is a complete record. I've seen 4 weeks, 5 weeks updates when they had bug fixes come out right away. I've never seen 3 weeks. Maybe they're going on vacation. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the team says, hey, we're going on vacation in August. Let's get this bug fix out now so we can all go on vacation and enjoy ourselves. Yes, I feel like Charlie Brown trying to kick the ball, but Apple keeps taking it away when it comes to Final Cut Pro expectations. Now listen, I agree, Apple is not good at managing Final Cut Pro expectations. Absolutely, they're inconsistent, okay? They're inconsistent. We had 3 summits, Final Cut Pro Creative Summits, 2016, 2017, 2018. In 2016, they updated Final Cut Pro at the summit, right the day before the summit, so just around that summit. 2017, they did the same thing. 2016, I think it was 10.3. 2017 was 10.4. 2018 was 10.4.4. Those are all big feature updates. We haven't had an update. 10.5 was not a big feature update. It was a little teeny update for Apple Silicon Macs. I would say that the 10.5.3 update was bigger than the 10.5 update. The 10.5.3 update, we got the browser ability to save and recall browser column layouts, which I really appreciate that. That was a nice feature update 3 weeks ago. It was the week before Final Cut Pro's 10th birthday. So now, 3 weeks later, they came up with 10.5.4. I think they're just clearing the deck. They're getting ready for 10. They're getting ready for 10.6 coming out later this year. That's what I think. And plus, they might be going on vacation for August. Who knows? They've been off for a year. You don't need a vacation. Get back to work. So they're going back to work. Apple's going back to work at the Spaceship Campus in September, from everything that I've read. I would have to think that's probably good. That's probably very true. Bug fix, bug fix, bug fix. Not much there. I don't even think let me just check. I don't even think there is any, maybe there is. Maybe there is some kind of, I don't think so. I don't think there is even any kind of a tech note about it. It's too small, right? What do you think? There's that. Let's go to the App Store. I don't think, let's go to version history. Let's see, this has more. 10.5.2, 10.5.1, more. This one had more. 10.4.9 last August had a lot of cool things to it. 10.5, improved performance of efficiency of M1 computers, accelerated machine learning. So not much there. Option to create copy of your library and automatically transcode media to ProRes proxy. That's a cool feature, but it certainly wasn't all 10.5. That's the only thing that was in 10.5 for Intel users, and that's the majority of people. So 10.5.1, add share option for YouTube and Facebook. So in 10.5.1, they took away the ability to directly upload to YouTube and Facebook. Now you have to make a file. And stability improvements, 10.5.2, stability, reliability improvements, 10.5.3, create and edit custom views in the new column editor. You know, these are, they're kind of strange, the things that are going on. Bug fix, but we're going to give you one feature, create and edit column layout, and then back to bug fixes again. So 1, 2, 3, and even 10.5 wasn't much. Improved performance, option to create accelerated machine learning, wasn't much there. 10.5, 10.5.1, 10.5.2, 10.5.3, little feature, which is really cool feature, and then 10.5.4, back to bug fix again. Listen, they've got to be, 10.6 has got to be a giant update, don't you think? I'm telling you it is. I don't know, but I think it's going to be. 10.6 will be out later this year, maybe with the MacBook Pros, with the M1X or the M2 MacBook Pros, whatever they turn out to be. But I think it's going to be a big update. Well, it's 10.6. It better be a big update because we didn't get one in 10.5. We're still waiting since 10.4 for the big feature update. What do you think? I like Eric Emmerich's. I feel like Charlie Brown trying to kick the ball, but Apple keeps taking it away when it comes to. So listen, let's talk about expectations. Final Cut Pro. They do expectations sometimes for Final Cut Pro. WWDC 2019, they announced another version of Final Cut Pro is coming out. WWDC in 2020, they announced that they have a new Apple Silicon version of Final Cut Pro coming out. So they do manage expectations sometimes. They announced the Mac Pro is coming. Last year, WWDC, they announced that the Apple Silicon Mac was coming. That's managing expectations. They said it's coming out later this year. They haven't said anything about 10.6, but I know it's coming. I mean, obviously it's coming. I think it'll be out this year. Final Cut Pro Creative Summit, NAB. Final Cut Pro Creative Summit is the most likely candidate because if we have an in-person one again, if we get to go to the Spaceship Campus to see the Final Cut Pro team, that's what I'm hoping. I would even wear a mask if I had to. I don't wear masks anymore. In Maryland, in July the 1st, state of emergency is over. We're one of the best states when it comes to the whole pandemic and getting inoculated and stuff. So we have a question here, not a question, a comment. What's your number one feature request for 10.6? I would say I'm being realistic now. Probably an audio mixing system, some kind of a mixing system. I would like to stop going to Logic when I'm doing serious Final Cut Pro audio work. That's what I'd like to stop doing. So I'd say an audio mixer would probably be realistically the biggest thing that's coming in 10.6, but I think we're going to be blown away. Number one, it's been so long since 10.4, 3 years. 10.5 was not a big feature update, so we're still waiting on that. It's been almost 3 years, so something big's got to be coming. And then you got the M1 chip factor coming in there. So it's still going to be supported in Intel for sure, but you have the M1 factor coming in. New Pro machines coming in. So 10.6 has got to be a big update. So I'm saying a mixer would be a big one, but there's lots of things. I mean, lots of other things I'd like to see. So Final Cut team should invite DaVinci Resolve team to a workshop, How to Innovate. Funny that you said that. Let me pull this up here that I pulled up. Let me see if I can find it. I have a app. Oh, is this it? I'm not sure if this is it or not. Yeah, here we go. So let me see how I do this. Let me do this and pull that back up again. I'm going to do a copy. Copy. Now let's see if I'm not sure how I can do this. I never tried this before. But let's try this. So there is that. Let me see. Show in current scene. Let me do this. No, it doesn't. So let me just try to drag it down then. Funny you talked about that. Let me see if this will work. Look at what is on Apple's own site. Great apps for Final Cut Pro. This is Apple's own site. Great apps for Final Cut Pro, DaVinci Resolve. I thought that was the strangest thing to see as a great app. You have Logic Pro, you expect that. Ripple Training a few things, Work4X, Keyflow Pro 2, Vimeo, iJustine teaches Final Cut Pro. Great apps for Final Cut Pro, DaVinci Resolve. Apple themselves are saying that a great app for Final Cut Pro is DaVinci Resolve. Isn't that a little bit strange to you? It was to me. So that goes with Final Cut team should invite DaVinci Resolve team to a workshop, How to Innovate. Yes, they're very innovative over there at Blackmagic. I'm hoping Blackmagic, from what I've read, they're coming to the NAB. So I hope that'd be great. That'd be one of the best things to go there for. If they don't add an audio mixer, going to be trouble. Absolutely. A bit off topic, any reservations updating to Big Sur? I haven't updated to Big Sur yet. Yes, there's problems with audio plugins that I use. My Apollo Twin X. This one is, these plugins still do not work with Final Cut Pro, with Big Sur after all this time. They just don't work there. So until they work, I'm not updating to Big Sur. As a matter of fact, I might go directly to Monterey. I think you're okay updating to Big Sur if you're just using Final Cut Pro. At this point, I think it's fine. It's, I have my Mac Pro. I have dual boot system. I have two NVMe very fast SSDs. I have an internal one that came with the Mac Pro, 2 terabyte, and I put a second NVMe SSD inside my Mac Pro that has Big Sur on it. And I dual boot. When you boot up, you hold the Option key and you choose what operating system you want. So I have updated. I have done that. I've even done a live stream with Big Sur just to test things out. But there's a couple little things that just the apps aren't updated or whatever. I'm not blaming Apple for that. I'm just saying it's something that I don't want to mess with. Catalina's been rock solid for me. So I would dual boot. I'd create a dual boot system so you're not making a commitment and you can't go back, or do a complete clone of your startup drive with Catalina before you update to Big Sur so you can always clone yourself back if you have to. That's what I'd recommend. Maybe more color grading integration. I'm not sure. Yeah. I mean, is it going to be DaVinci Resolve? I don't think it'll ever be DaVinci Resolve as far as color goes, but sure. Sure, I'd like to see a better keyframe editor as well. There's a lot of little things I'd like to see. I'd like to see you be able to save default preferences, so when you set a spatial conform, it sticks. We finally got the browser column layout. You can finally save and recall those after all this time. So I'm really appreciative of that for sure. That came in 10.5.3 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, they gave us an update right before the birthday of Final Cut Pro, the 10th birthday, and then they gave it a second bug fix. I think I'm not exactly sure, but I think they're just clearing the deck for 10.6, getting rid of these bugs and things. Plus, they're probably going on vacation in August. That's what I say. This is not strange because DaVinci is a color grade and is great for further work on the film, sure. But it doesn't say, the color grading. It just says DaVinci Resolve. Yes, I understand that DaVinci is an industry standard for color grading. Thanks for advice on upgrading to Big Sur. Any problem with Big Sur and Isotope 7? I would say don't use. Is Isotope 7 the latest, or did it go to 8? The latest version of Isotope does not work in Final Cut Pro. It's on their website. They said don't use it, doesn't work. Use the standalone version. I don't think there's any problem with if you use a standalone version. I use Isotope in Logic. I don't use it in Final Cut. And I did not update to the latest version because the last version is plenty for what I need. Plus I have Crumble Pops, noise reduction, and I have a couple of other plugins I can use in Logic in Waves plugins that are noise reduction plugins, the kind that Isotope offers. So no, I don't know of any specifically, but in Final Cut, I don't know. I'd be cautious. If it's your production machine, clone your current boot up drive before you do any major decisions, before you update to Big Sur for sure. Clone it. Make sure you have a nice bootable copy to make sure you can go back. So anyway, there is couple more things. So this was interesting, very interesting. Let me pull this up. Post-Production World, Las Vegas, October the 8th through the 13th, NAB. Right now you can get a 10% discount if you want anything from Future Media Conferences. In person, attend live in Las Vegas. Look at this. Access to over 120 live sessions delivered in person at the Las Vegas Convention Center. 120 live sessions delivered in person at the Las Vegas Convention Center. And of course, they also have access to live certification workshops, NAB trade floor shows, NAB and FMC networking events. So if I go to NAB, I'll probably be reporting live from this networking event. The last time they did it on Sunday night, in 2019, I was there. FMC did a nice networking event it was packed. It was completely packed. So that's happening again, it looks like. I just wanted to show you that the NAB is picking up steam. It's 4 months away. It's in October. So you have August, September. 3 months away. 3 months. So 3 months, but it's picking up steam. Now, I read previously that Blackmagic was going to be there, that Panasonic was going to be there, and that Sony was going to be there. So Panasonic has already announced the GH6 is coming out in 2021. That's where we're probably going to see the GH6. If Panasonic's going to be there at NAB, why wouldn't they produce the GH6 there? Final Cut Pro 10.6, they may, Apple, you never can tell. Okay, Apple's been all over the place with whether you can predict what they're going to do this last year. I would not have predicted they put out a feature update in the summer of August of last year, and yet they did. August 25th or something like that, they put out 10.4.9, which was the biggest feature update we've had for years, 10.4.9. And at the time I said, this seems like it could have been in 10.5, but they didn't wait for 10.5, which came out in November. They put it out at 10.49 in August. So 10.6, they could release at any time, but I would say they're probably going to release it maybe at NAB, but more than likely they might release it around the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit in November. It hasn't happened yet. The Final Cut Pro Creative Summit has not happened yet. So they hasn't been announced yet. I mean, they haven't announced what they're going to do for 2021. I just sense they're going to be in person at NAB. They've already announced that, 120 plus live sessions. I presume they're also going to be doing a live FCPX Creative Summit. Is this version 10.5.4 the final bug fix? You mean final bug fix for 10.5? I would say probably, unless they discover something else that's big, high from the UK. That's what I would say. That's what I would guess. Seems like it should be. Don't forget to go over there to my YouTube channel, Richard Taylor TV. Subscribe, ring the bell, whatever you got to do over there. I don't know what ringing that bell does. I don't hear it, so it's okay. I don't hear the bell when it gets rung. All right, that's good for today. I wanted to jump on here since they released it, and I come on whenever they release a new update, just to let everybody know it's just a bug fix, a couple of things, couple of small things. This is my mute button, so I can mute myself when I take a drink. Of course, compressor was updated. Let's go back and check. We'll check for compressor. Let's go back. Let's see. Current application, App Store. So I don't want that done. Let's go to compressor, and it changes to update. Improve stability with certain languages. Fix an issue where layer type could not be set when burning a DVD or Blu-ray disc. And then we also have motion, of course. We'll do a search for motion. See, it's interesting. When you do a search, it says open. But when you go to motion itself, it says update. So motion has the same issues as Final Cut Pro. Improves stability when exporting certain Mac OS language and region preferences. Improves stability when playing H.264 or HEVC media. Same as Final Cut. Exactly the same as Final Cut. As always, thanks, Richard. Thank you. I just wanted to jump on here real quick. I haven't decided if I'm going to NAB yet. Maybe if you want me to go, you guys and gals can convince me. We'll have to see. I will certainly go to the FCPX Creative Summit that I've gone to since 2016. The first one was in 2015, and I've been going to them since they've been at the Juniper Hotel in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. Last year was virtual, 2020, and then I'll be going again this year. I'm planning on it if everything goes as planned. And it should be in November. I'm going to say the second week of November. Does that sound like something? Second week of November? That sounds like very possible. So I'm going to get out of here, everyone. 10.5.4 bug fix update out today. Second update in 3 weeks. Do motion updates always follow with Final Cut Pro updates? Usually, yes. Usually compressor and motion get updated with Final Cut Pro. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, everyone. My name is Richard Taylor, and I'm going to hop off here and do some work. I have a conference I have to do with a filmmaker that I'm working with. All right? Thanks for stopping by. Don't forget, subscribe over there at my YouTube channel, YouTube Richard Taylor TV. Jump over there and subscribe. Do me a favor. And Richard Taylor, I'll talk to you later. Thanks for stopping by.